Thank you, Prajakta. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for the time. I'm very excited to speak with you today to cover the Origami Risk use case, your successes, to talk a little bit, to get to know all your successes with the forum. And that's it. And I think we can, is it okay to jump and to start?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's start. First thing first, if it's okay, I would like to have a few moments just for you to introduce to the team about yourself, the Origami Risk, and your day-to-day role and responsibilities.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me. My name is Prajakta Badi, and I work as Senior Product Security Manager at Origami Risk. I'm currently in India attending my sister's wedding, but I'm based in San Jose, California. Origami Risk actually is based in Chicago, Illinois, and I work remote. The Chicago office is our headquarters. And I lead product security team at Origami Risk, which encompasses the front end, the back end, the entire Origami platform. And I joined Origami in November of 2022. Prior to that, I was working for Symantec for almost about 7 years, leading their internal penetration testing team within the application security group. But I didn't start into security since the beginning of my career. I moved into different roles, quality assurance, quality engineering, and then moved into cybersecurity about 10 years ago or so. And speaking about Origami Risk, like I said, it's based in Chicago, Illinois. And we offer cloud-based SaaS solutions for insurance and risk management industry. And we have solutions for pools, policy and claim management on the insurance side, among many others. And on the risk side, we have solutions for EHS, workers' compensation management, healthcare management, to name a few, some of the product offerings that we have. And at Origami Risk, my team is responsible for product security, as I said earlier, which includes obviously, security reviews of our front end, back end, the entire platform. And we do security reviews, architecture reviews, threat modeling, penetration testing, internal and external, SaaS scans, and vulnerability management is also part of my team's responsibility. So obviously we use a variety of techniques, tools, scanners for proactive remediation of our security vulnerabilities. And that's in a nutshell a little bit of my background and Origami Risk's background.
Thank you so much. So we're working together for over a year now. I love that you mentioned the pen test and the application security because it's a big part of your use case in the day-to-day. Maybe we can open with the challenges or the main thing that you basically wanted to tackle with the platform that led you to connect to Vulcan in the first place.
Yeah, and I think one of our biggest challenges, the overarching challenge, was streamlining our vulnerability management program. We had tools, scanners at various phases of life cycle, but making the vulnerability management process effective and efficient was one of the challenges that I took over when I joined Origami, which obviously included prioritizing before you even prioritize, aggregating the vulnerabilities from different sources, and then prioritizing those based on business risk and the actual exposure. And Yanni mentioned in the previous session, I think he was mentioning about how scattered our portfolio is in terms of scanning tools and the general tooling that we use for cybersecurity. We have tools for secret scanning, we have tools for SaaS, DAS, and they all do different things. So how do you bring all of that together? And how do I prioritize those for effective remediation? I think that was one of our biggest challenges. And that's what I took over to solve in the first place.
Very interesting. I know today you have different different types in the platform, a whole different sources. Excuse me. So maybe it will take us to the next topic of what led you, or what are the main things that led you to Vulcan on top of the aggregation. Maybe we covered aggregation. What else do you find interesting in a solution that you're after?
Yeah, so when I was looking at how do I solve this in the most efficient way, I talked about the aggregation was one part of it, prioritization was other part of it, but having that single platform where I can do everything at once and not having to go to this tool or that tool or this dashboard or the other dashboard was also the other priority. That how do I manage everything all at once, including my analytics and metrics that I need to provide to my team, my stakeholders, as well as my leadership team. So single platform where I can do everything. I can manage my vulnerabilities, track them for remediation, track my SLAs, and also in some or the other way track my assets, and then creating dashboards and the reports that are easily consumable for my team and the stakeholders. I think that was what we were trying to solve. Those were our priority list when we were looking for tools for this. The other one was the support that the team would provide, because without the team's support and help and holding hands, bringing all of these tool sets together would be impossible. So the support the team offers was also another priority for us when we were looking for tools, and general capabilities to integrate with some of our tools that we use. We use the industry standard tools for scanning and other other reviews. So a platform that has connections to Jira, which is our ticket management system, and the other scanning tools that we use. So coming back to my same point, is a single dashboard to achieve what we were doing across segregated platforms.
I love how we're having a great segue from a slide to another, because maybe we can talk about, you mentioned dashboard, which we know you customize several of them, and we know what you're reporting to management. And we also know that we worked really, really hard together on having the data and having the fields from your sources that will lead you to a good search, slice and dice the data. And we saw from the get-go that you are really focused on the data points that you're interested to ingest from the get-go. So maybe you can walk us through some successes or some of the things that you're seeing as a result after implementing Vulcan.
Yeah. So I think I have said this enough. Aggregation and prioritization was a priority, and Vulcan came handy because first of all, it had integration to some of our scanners, or that we were using, that were already deployed. So we didn't have to look here and there or build special connections or API integration. It was just ready off the shelf for us for integration. So that was the biggest win for us, that Vulcan provided us with integration with our scanners as well as integration with our ticketing system, the internal ticketing system. So that was obviously a success criteria. The other one was, tagging our assets into high risk versus lower risk, so we could then make decisions, informed decisions on which ones we should prioritize versus which one we should not, or at a later point. So exposure to threats, exposure to the risk, and what risk the business would carry, definitely helped us in terms of prioritizing our massive backlog, because the scanners, they bring noise many times.
Yes.
Right? They bring findings, but many of those findings could be noise. So how do you basically dedupe that noise, deduplication of the vulnerabilities that are coming from scanners that may be doing the same thing? So having a single vulnerability instance, and then putting risk-based assessment over that, based on the asset risk, based on the threat intelligence, and then presenting that to our teams for remediation within the SLA. So it's like a plate that is handed over to the team that's ready to be consumed. That was another success criteria for us, and which is what Vulcan offered. And the third thing that I think I want to stress enough is the metrics, or the off-the-shelf analytics that Vulcan offered. So I didn't have to build any separate metrics and reports and charts and bring numbers from here and there and then put them into spreadsheet and build graphs over that. They were really available into the dashboard itself. So all I had to do is just click the button and the report was ready. And it was it was actually catered to different audiences. It was not just for leadership team, or it was not just for my team. It was for different teams who could basically then make, again, informed decisions on how they want to approach the remediation. Because ultimately, we are all striving to, how do I remediate my vulnerabilities in the proactive and timely manner? So the dashboard or the analytics part was absolutely a win for us, because when my CISO is actually presenting to in the leadership team, I could just present that monthly or quarterly report, and he could just take that to his leadership meetings. And the last but not the least, I would definitely give kudos to Vulcan on the support that they have provided, because I think I mentioned it earlier, without the support and hand-holding during the onboarding session, we would not be here where we are right now. So the throughout hand-holding, guiding us, fine-tuning our instance to make sure we are actually making the most from that platform was something that I cannot stress enough. So I think those were some of our success factors that made us where we are right now with Vulcan.
Wow. Thank you so much for the very detailed walkthrough. I want to maybe take one moment to deep dive into the reports. You were saying different audiences, and I know your reports are tidy up, they're on spot. Maybe we can take one moment for you to describe what are the different audiences, or just one topic or one report that you really rely on. And then I would like to shift to what's next for us. But if we can take one moment, can you walk us through a report or a topic that is really the most consumable for you in the Vulcan today?
Yeah. There are actually 3 reports that I heavily rely on a day-to-day basis that I will actually look at almost every day. One is the CISO leadership report that I just talked about, which is what makes my life a lot easier, which is a really good snapshot of everything all at once. So I don't have to go to different reports, my SLAs, my remediation, and general risk exposure. Like, how am I looking in terms of security posture overall for Origami Risk? In a nutshell, is something that my CISO executive report gives me. The second report that I rely on, the SLA timing, right? Am I within the SLA for remediation? And the one thing that I actually wanted to a previous question, defining SLA within Vulcan was really easy, because then we could just immediately track how far we are and how close we are towards the remediation dates. So the SLA tracking is something that I closely monitor. And then the other one is my threat exposure, like how, based on threat intelligence, what is my exposure? What are the CVEs that I'm exposed to? It could be OS top 10 or something else. So those are the 3 reports that I literally live and breathe by on a day-to-day basis. And obviously those reports are also helpful for other teams so that they know what they're remediating.
Thank you so much. I did want to spend a little bit more time on this, because really your reporting are all set in place like soldiers. Maybe we're really short on times. Maybe one sentence or 2 sentences. What's upcoming next for us in our partnership? What will be the next success for you?
The next success plan, obviously we've been together for almost a year. We have refined our instance. There have been ups and downs in terms of getting everything together, making sure all our tool sets are integrated. And I think the next phase of that is enhancing some of our reporting capability. And I mentioned that it's already available, but some of the customized reporting that maybe my audience could be different, right? Some of them for my team, for architecture team. So tailor making those reports would be next steps. And then the step beyond that would be really utilizing Vulcan's risk acceptance feature. We are doing risk management in a different way into our proprietary tool. And then we're trying to see if we can use Vulcan as our next tool for risk acceptance, and then do everything in Vulcan through the entire risk lifecycle can be managed through Vulcan. So those would be my next steps.
Beautiful. I want to thank you for the feedback, for sharing the professional knowledge. It's really your data set up in place, the processes set up in place. It's a pleasure to work with you and your team. And thank you for the time today and the insights. Anything else?
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Prajakta.